Yo, what's going on, guys? I'm Jay Cartere, and in this video I'm going to be sharing some tips for early PvP survival and how to get raided less. Now, this isn't how to never get raided, because I'm unsure if that's even a thing, but this can definitely help you get raided less in the early game while you're setting up and whatnot. If a big tribe really has a bone to pick with you, then they'll probably get through your defenses anyways and get rid of you. So yeah, you really have to be incognito and whatnot, which is part of a few of my tips. So my first tip is to get to stone tier ASAP. Now, the reason you want to do this is because thatch is completely terrible. Any noob can raid you with a thatch house. Wood is also terrible. Any noob can raid you with a wooden hut or house, but they'll just take longer. Stone is the only thing that is gonna take a really long amount of time for anyone that doesn't have explosives. Although one rocket will basically get rid of your stone wall and people will be in your base. So I generally wouldn't suggest double walling in stone, because there's really no point. One rocket is going to get through those walls anyways. So you might as well just build small in stone, not snow. You could build small in the snow, actually. Snow is a very good place to build, because a lot of people do not build there because it's very harsh to live there on the island. But yeah, build out of stone ASAP. Just build a 1x2 is way better than building a 5x5 wooden hut, which I've seen people do, which I did when I first started playing the game. I built like a very large wooden shack, in which I believed was going to be my home for the foreseeable future. I had no idea that people would just rob you. I had no idea. That that's what the game was like and whatnot. So I was very naive, and I learned from my mistakes, and I learned how to build better and do better defenses and whatnot. But definitely do not build a large room out of wood, stone, or whatever. My next tip is build small and incognito. I would suggest building in some dense trees, not too close to any resources that people will be flying to and from or trying to get to. Don't cut down those trees around your base, as they will provide a little cover and can keep you out of sight. Although if those trees don't render in before the person does, then they will be able to just see your base like there were no trees there. But I would suggest building like kind of close to metal, so that you can get metal, but not too close to the metal that anyone who's going to that particular spot to get metal will see your base. So be very wary of how people will traverse the area, and plot where your base is around that. Next tip is multiple doorways and layers. Now, this harkens back to the tip that I shared earlier on when I was saying, don't build a huge big box, because the thing about that is, as soon as someone gets in through one door or one wall, they've got access to everything in your base. Well, I hope you guys can't hear that. That is really annoying. So instead, you want to build multiple doorways. For example, if you have like one door, you go in there and you have to open another door. Like there's a little airlock, and then you go through there, and then maybe there's some storage, and then you segment that off for another piece of your base. You don't just have one big open area, because as I said before, if they get through that one roadblock, they're gonna have access to everything. So you want to segment things off so that they have to use more resources to get through your defenses and to get through your construction, which may it may deter raiders with less resources, because it's definitely deterred us when we didn't have a bunch of rockets or C4 or anything. Like if we go into a base and we see that there's another doorway, we'll try and blow through it. And then if there's nothing in that, we'll probably be like, oh no, leave it, we ain't got time for this, because we're going to be expending so much resources that it might not be worth it in the end. Which is how you want your raiders to think. You want them to be like, this isn't worth it, I might as well raid someone else. So definitely think about having multiple doorways and layers. My next tip is get a Fiomia, a compost bin, and get some Plant X set up ASAP. Now, a dung beetle is the better option and a great upgrade to the compost bins if you can get a wolf or a mount that can fit in the cave for you to find and tame a couple. But defo get a few Plant X's and defenses up before taming time consuming dinos. So, if you do not have turrets and Plant X's, don't tame a Therizinosaurus. I just don't do it, because 7 hours tame or 6 hours tame, 4 hours tame, whatever the amount of tame is, if you're gonna leave that in your base overnight, then that's gonna get murdered if you don't have any defenses to protect it from getting murdered, because it'll just be easy pickings and it'll set you back so much. You want to get the dinos that are immediately useful, the dinos that you really need at that point in time. Something, dinos that don't take too much time to get but are worth the tame. So get what you need. Don't ever overextend yourself, because you'll probably get robbed. and that's always crap. Focus on defenses. Get your defenses up. They're so important. Also, you can upload dinos to an obelisk overnight and whatnot, but that's not the most, what's the word? That's not the most reliable decision or reliable way to store your dinos, because as we've seen in the past, if an update comes or if a rollback happens, or something happens with the server, you may lose those dinos, and you're way more likely to not lose those dinos if you have them in an enclosed dino pen or building where they're safe and can't be shot or deleted from the system. So my next piece of advice is defense is power, and it should be a priority over all else. Now, the thing about defense is if you have so much defense that your enemy cannot come to your base and steal your stuff, then you win that battle. You win the battle because they can come to your base, they can do whatever, but they can't steal your stuff. They can't get in, they can't get past your defense. So whoever has the best defense in that situation will generally be the winner. Having big weapons or very, OP blueprints or whatever can be countered easily, because if you don't have any auto turrets or defense, your opponent can just get in your base, steal your stuff, and now all your great blueprints, all your great weapons and whatnot is theirs, and they're using it against you. So definitely prioritize defense over getting, that new great Mastercraft long neck rifle or whatever. Maybe get a few turrets up beforehand. Auto turrets are your bread and butter when it comes to defense. See, turrets shoot rockets and grenades, and I knew this through reading the wiki and researching it, but I didn't know how effective they were at shooting turrets and grenades, and they are really, really, really effective. They're really effective. I generally wouldn't, suggest you doing this on a stone base. I'd say get to metal ASAP. But if you're being raided on a consistent basis in your stone base and you got a few Plant X up, then it might be worth getting a few auto turrets to just shoot down those rockets, because then it'll be way harder for people to get into your base, and it'll give you the time that you need to actually build and get to metal tier without having to just continually repair your stone base. So definitely think about that. Turrets also force any would-be raiders to actually come up with a strategy and put some effort into raiding your base. Now, if you have a stone base or even a metal base, if it's like triple walled or whatever, all the raiders have to do is wear the walls down or the doors down. Just throw enough explosives at that wall or that door in order to get rid of it. And they just have to have the amount of resources that they need in order to get rid of it. If you have turrets up now, they need to think about getting away from your turrets, getting into a blind site where your turrets can't shoot them, or bringing in a turtle or some sort of dino that can tank the turret bullets until it runs out, or tank the turret bullets so that they can shoot it from another angle. They have to think more about it. It's not just, you know, brute force, we can just get through this building. They have to like think about it. They have to be more prepared. So a few raiders on pteranodons going around trying to look for easy pickings will likely leave your base alone. Interior turrets are even better now, because they're even harder to get rid of and to counter, especially if you have really tight corridors in your base. For example, if it only fits people through and doesn't fit any dinos, it'll be really annoying for a person to, you know, dismount their dino and think, yo, we're in, jump in your base and start getting murdered, and maybe you can steal some of their stuff and start using their gear against them. But if they do blow a big enough hole to allow their turtles and stuff through, then of course they're going to be able to use those against you. But generally, interior turrets do really hurt raiders, especially raiders who are just trying to come get easy pickings and are trying to get in and out, trying to bypass turrets and whatnot. It really does force them to think about things differently and use more resources, which is always good. The more resources that you can make your raiders use, the better. My next tip is don't use the alliance feature frivolously. Now, the alliance feature, you know, when you're early game and you've just started the game, I can understand why you'd want to alliance with everyone, because you're a noob and you need, you know, you think you can get other people to help you out, and those people will come to your defense, hopefully, and, you know, maybe in groups you'll be more powerful, and that could be the case. Some people could come to your defense, but I've never seen that personally happen. It might happen, but I think that generally will happen around, you know, tribes that have built a lot of trust together. I definitely wouldn't just meet someone and be like, yo, alliance or whatever, which we have done in the past when I was playing on a few previous servers, because you just see people and they'd be like, yo, ally with us. And then you're like, yeah, why not? Because then we can fly past your turrets and we don't have to worry about them anymore. But the thing is, if that happens, they can fly past your turrets and they don't have to worry about those anymore. And, you know, to the less honorable people, they'll be able to get inside your base with basically no fight. It doesn't matter how many turrets you put up, they're getting inside your base super easily, and then they can just blow your shit up and rob you. So I definitely would say do not just jump into any alliance with anyone that you don't completely trust. Make sure you've been talking to them, seeing how they play for like multiple days and whatnot, and you kind of get to know them before you just start allying with random people, because it really does hurt you if they've got nefarious intentions and whatnot. So yeah, I hope this video helped you out. I hope it helps you not get wiped and raided on such a, you know, regular basis if that's been happening to you. Please hit that like button if this video helped you out. Also, be sure to subscribe, as I'll be putting out loads more ARC tips, tricks and gameplay videos. And if you want to check out the rest of my ARC tips, tricks or gameplay videos, you can click on the playlist on the screen, and be sure to leave a comment down below. Let me know what other types of tips and tricks or tutorials you guys want to see me do next, and I'll try and make those. Thanks for watching. Also, wow, I almost forgot about this. I've created a new Discord chat for the ARC PS4 community, so if you want to join that, you can do so using the link in the description below. In that Discord chat, we do have various topics and chats, so you can trade with other players, you can recruit other players, you can try and find alliances. We have a chat for tips, YouTube videos, all that sort of stuff. So definitely check that out if you want to be part of that, get involved with the community and meet some new players and maybe find some new members and play together. Link in the description below. Peace.
It's been a cold winter and it's lasted far too long, so all this warmth I share with you.